Good morning, grade 10s. I'm really sorry I can't be here this morning. Had an unexpected sickness with one of my boys last night, so I need to be at home with him today. So today is reading assessment day, and you will be in really good hands with Mr. Galetz here today, but I've also made a video to help support this assessment as well. So you can just listen along for the next few minutes. So we talked about the formative, summative component yesterday, and this assessment that you're doing today is meant to be formative, meaning that it won't count towards marks. It will be on gradebook. And the next one that you do in a few more weeks will be summative and will be marked at the division level. Now remember, if you happen to do better on this assessment today, I will count this one as summative and the next one as formative. So it's crucial that you give your best attempt on both assessments. And remember, if I talked to you yesterday about not completing this assessment, you can continue working on of mice and men, and you'll need to wait until tomorrow to write your quizzes. So most importantly, don't feel panicked or worried if you don't feel ready for this assessment. There's nothing really that you can be ready for. It's purely for teachers to determine what students need to become more thoughtful, independent readers and thinkers. So remember, this is not a writing assessment, it is a reading assessment. So after you listen to this video, you will have about a 45-minute block of uninterrupted time to complete. Now, it's not like the buzzer goes at 45 minutes. If you need a little more time, that's fine. Your late will be excused if you happen to be late for your next class. And if you enter late, like if you have a late slip or whatever the case may be, you are entitled to 45 minutes. The division has really stressed that 45 minutes, at least having 45 minutes, so you have the time to demonstrate your abilities. And I do encourage you to utilize that time just like you would in a final exam. All right, so shortly here, Mr. Galetz is going to distribute rubrics, the questions, the pamphlet, and I'll indicate on here when he needs to do so. But number one, you need to answer that before you read the pamphlet. Okay, and I'll get to that in a second as well. So you need to answer number one first. After that, it doesn't matter which order you answer them, but I would recommend doing them in order so you don't miss anything. But again, that's your call. Okay, so now Mr. Galetz is going to distribute the rubrics, the assessment, and the sunk pamphlet in the Ontario Comprehension Assessment box, Mr. Galetz. So you can pause the video here. So Mr. Galetz isn't going to go over the rubric with you, but this is up to you to read this, folks, before you answer each question. There is a grid on the assessment for each question. So before you answer question one, please read what the level 3 and 4 looks like. That's what we're aiming for here. Okay, this is what I will be marking you on, and there's a very similar rubric that you will have as well when you do your next assessment. Okay, so now that you have all of your sheets, please make sure question one is done before reading the text. Obviously, you're going to have to use some reading strategies like skimming and scanning, looking at the diagrams, looking at any bolded words, any images, other kinds of visuals on the pamphlet to answer the question, but you are not reading through the entire text. And finally, for question two, you need to use a graphic organizer. We talked about this yesterday in class. So I've got 3 examples of graphic organizers up on the board. Okay, so before you write your assessment, if you don't know what graphic organizer you're going to use at this point, I would go look after the video is done, but you can't be up walking around looking at these graphic organizers while you're writing. So this is something that must be done before you begin writing. And again, the word web, this is the first graphic organizer up on the board. When I show you the exemplars here, after I've marked them, of what a level 1, 2, 3, 4 looks like, The first graphic organizer, the kind of word web, is the one that is most commonly used on the level 4 answers. The one that I've shown here has a who, what, when, where, why, how in each of the boxes. And your graphic organizer, the ones on the exemplars, don't necessarily have to have those titles. They don't have to have any titles. You can organize the material however you want. Okay, and you can add strands off of those bubbles, and I'll show an example on the board of what I mean by that. As for the rest of the questions, I don't really have any notes on them. Just remember that this is an assessment of your reading abilities, not your writing skills. Okay, you will hear it from me if you don't write full and complete sentences, if you use random capitalization, and I've been talking to some of you about that. Please do not use abbreviations as well, okay? But basically, I want you to have peace of mind knowing that your spelling isn't going to be marked. It doesn't need to be 100% correct, but try your best. Okay, it's the comprehension of reading that's being tested here. Okay, good luck, and I will see you tomorrow. And once you're done, if you finish this class, you can be working on your Of Mice and Men activities, or you can be working on your essay. So everybody has something to be doing. Okay, have a good day. Bye.